giving people a chance to join, making sure that it's coming through on the different channels. We're on Facebook, we're on our website, monday-motivation.ca, and we're also on YouTube, so you can pick us up any of those three places. While you're waiting, why don't you go check out our website, monday-motivation.ca. And on there, there's past webcasts, there's an option to join our mailing list. Hey, sign up for our mailing list while you're at it. Check out past editions. And it looks like we are live on Facebook, so that's great. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, our YouTube is live. It looks like we are live everywhere. Oh, just checking our website. Excellent. Okay, so we are live. We are good to go. Welcome to Monday Motivation, where we talk about PowerPoints for successful Christian living. I like to talk about people we strive to survive. Quite often I find myself in that mode, and we don't want to strive and survive. What we want to do is thrive. So we're talking about, each week we talk about a different idea to help us move from striving to thriving. So we're glad you're here to join us. I hope we'll give people a few more minutes to join. And I'll get into today's topic, time. Who's got time? So we'll give it a minute. If you have any comments, please go ahead and type them in the comments. YouTube, Facebook, all allow for comments, even our website. You just have to provide your email address. So check out our website, monday-motivation.ca. You can sign up for our mailing list on there. On social media, make sure you share this video. Invite other people to join. Like it, because the more likes, the more shares, the more popular it gets on Facebook and on YouTube. Then, if we're providing good material, let's share it. Let's expand our audience. A couple of weeks ago, I announced we've started a new Facebook group. So this is not a page, but an actual closed group, Monday Motivation, and we've titled it, let me get the exact title. It's an interactive group, Monday Motivation, Inspire, Share, and Connect. So if you are not part of that group, go ahead and join it. And it's a place where, it's a closed group where people can share ideas, inspiration, questions, topics you want to talk about. And it's an interactive, because Monday Motivation is not just about me, but it's about getting a community of people involved who just want to, again, move from striving to thriving. That's where we want to be, especially as Christians. So PowerPoints for successful Christian living. How are we doing here? Oh, Chantel. Welcome, Chantel. Glad you could join us. We have a few people on the group page. Just taking a look here. Okay. Oh, Chantel, glad to be here. Okay, so I actually am doing a Zoom session. I'll talk more about that later, where we can be a little more interactive. Unfortunately, the only way you can interact here is through the comments. So, time. Who has time? In our busy society, I'll stand up for this part if you don't mind. In our busy society, we're always scrambling for more time. We're busy, and we're always rushing. Right? We rush here, we rush there, we rush to do this, we rush to get this done, we rush to work, we rush home, we rush out shopping, and we're always in a rush. But does our level of busyness, we're busy, But does our level of busyness match our level of accomplishment? What are we accomplishing for being so busy? If you think about it, we all have 24 hours in a day. You have the same 24 hours as, say, Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, or Donald Trump, or any of these people that we look at that are great leaders. You have the same 24 hours in a day that they have. 24 hours in a day. You can always earn more money. You can work harder. You can invest. You can be wise with your money. You can always earn more money. But there's not a single thing you can do to earn more time. We all have the same amount of time, 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year. That's, in 1 year, we have 8,760 hours, 525,000 minutes, or 31 million seconds. Every year, you got 31 million seconds. And how do we spend that time? I think about my day often, or let's take a typical day. We wake up in the morning. Me, I usually sleep in another 15 minutes, hopefully no longer. And then, oh no, now I'm in a rush. And then I run to the kitchen, I get my breakfast, I run and grab a quick shower, and I shave. No COVID beard here. And I'm in a rush, and I rush, and then our kids are grown up now, but then you'd have to run and make lunch for the kids, get the kids ready for school, you'd have to get yourself ready for work, I'd have to answer a few business emails, and I'd grab my stuff and I'd run out the door, and then I'd be speeding to get into the office because I'm late now, and rush. And then in the day, this comes at you, that comes at you, you didn't expect this, there's another fire to fight, and more. And you're bombarded with all this stuff through the day, and at the end of the day, what do you get to do? Drive home in the rush hour traffic, get the kids some dinner, run off to kids' sports here. You got one going this way, one going that way, one going here. You've got one that's sick, and so it's again rush, and then lucky if you got a family dinner time. If you did, it was probably only 5-10 minutes. And then you got to get the kids ready for bed. You got to get them washed up. You've got to prepare your own work for tomorrow. And by the end of the day, you're just totally exhausted. And that described my life for many years. Some days that's still my life, minus the kids' lunches. But we go through so much, and then by the end of the day, we're just totally exhausted, totally wiped out. And in the day, we're now feeling guilty for all the things that we didn't do. How do we deal with it? What do we do? How do you deal with the busyness in life? Oops. Okay. My apologies. Let's switch the video. Okay. Sorry about that. Technical problems. My tech crew, which is me, missed the switch on that one. So, but I think you get the point. We rush, and we're just exhausted by the end of the day, feeling guilty for all the things that were left undone. I have days like that. Fortunately, they're becoming less and less common, but it does happen, and I'm sure you do too. So how do you deal with it? And go to our group, go to our Facebook page, go to our feedback form, share how do you deal with it, or where are you at? And what are your thoughts on the subject? I want to make Monday Motivation as interactive as possible. So far, it's just been me speaking each week, but I want to get more interactive. So please do share your thoughts, your comments. Even if you're watching this video after the fact, I'll still be monitoring comments ongoing. So yeah, definitely share your thoughts, ideas, comments. So the question is now, since you can't buy more time, you've got that same 24 hours a day, what can I do, what can you do to make more effective use of your time? So it's not, we can't get more time, but we can be more effective in the way that we use the time that we're given. Why? Well, if you think of it, if you study time management, anybody who is successful has learned to master time. Now, there are some people who are successful, but if they don't learn that skill, if they don't manage their time, their success is quickly gone because they have not managed it properly. Anybody who is successful over the long term knows how to manage their time. Business executives. I know lots of IT managers. I know lots of project managers. The ones that were successful, whether higher up the food chain, the corporate ladder, or even at the management level, or even just the day-to-day, employees, anybody who's successful knows how to manage their time. In terms of our role as a Christian, we have to be stewards of the time that God has given us. We don't know if He's given us 40 years, 60 years, 80 years, but we know He's given us today. He's given us the past year, and we have to assume that He's going to give us another 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, maybe 50 years, depending on your age. How are you going to be a good steward of the time that God has given you? When our time is up, and we meet God face to face, and He says, I gave you 70 years on earth. What did you do with your time? Well, I got really good at video games. I'm a social media expert. I know all the social media trends. But when God says, what did you do with your time? How are you going to answer? He has given us time. He's given us money. He's given us talents and abilities. But He's also given us time. And we are accountable to God for how we spend our time. And as I get older, I'm becoming more and more aware of that. As I look back at my life, I talk about fear. One thing I fear is wasting my time. Because I know that I have a number of good years left, but I don't want to waste it on useless stuff. I want to be effective. I want to be effective for the kingdom. So I ask myself on a daily and a weekly basis, how am I managing my time? It is so important. Anybody who's successful does it. As Christians, we should be doing it because we know that time is a gift from God. He put us here for a reason. Are we accomplishing that purpose using the time that He has given us? So important. Let's take a look, see if there's any comments. Other than you get to see video now. Okay, we're looking good. Other than the turn on your video comment, all's good. Thank you. My question to you, and something for you to think about, is do you manage time or does time manage you? For many years, time managed me. I was always a victim, I use that term, of my circumstances. This got thrown at me, that got thrown at me. And I was always just taking everything that was thrown at me and scrambling from here, there, everywhere. And I realized, especially as I got further on in business, I had my own businesses, I realized I was being managed by time. It was managing me rather than me managing my time. Think about it. Do you manage time, or does time manage you? And even now, I still have good days and bad days where time manages me. But by understanding the principles of time management, those days are becoming fewer and far between. And early in my business career, I made a number of embarrassing mistakes, not showing up for meetings, being late for meetings with important clients, missing important phone calls, not giving timely responses to customer inquiries. And I realized I was not in control. So at that point, I actually I've studied time management with Priority Management Institute, so I went and took a course with them where they drilled down into great detail into managing your time. So I studied with them. Another good resource is the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm going to talk a little bit about that even tonight. That's a book by Stephen Covey, and specifically habit number 3, put first things first. So between those two, and even more recently now, I've joined History Makers Society as a trainer and a coach, and they have some excellent training on time management. So between those 3, and add my experience in business and IT management and project management, I have a pretty good handle on it now. Most days, I can manage my time rather than it managing me. And sometimes it slips. Nobody's perfect. But on those days, I always work to get better. Thank you, Shireen. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate your feedback there. Glad you could join us. Anybody else on the broadcast, you're welcome to like this video. Make sure you share it if you're enjoying it. If there's anything you want us to talk about, make sure you give us some feedback. Let us know what is of interest to you. I'm going to be doing a free webinar, and this will actually be by Zoom, so it'll be a lot more interactive than we can do on social media. But mark in your calendar September 2nd, 7 p.m. It's a Wednesday evening, and I'm going to be doing a live training session. It'll be probably about an hour and a half on time management. I'll talk a little more about that later. But write in your calendar September 2nd, 7 p.m., and join us on Zoom. So we'd love to have you for that. Let's take a little, spend a little bit of time looking at how we manage our time. And this material actually comes from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey's teaching. Great book, highly recommend it. Not just for the time management piece, but for everything that's in there. So I'm going to share with you a graphic, and I'm going to disappear from the screen, but I will come back this time. Chantel, I promise I will come back. I just have to bring it up here. And in this graphic, what we do in order to get a better perspective on how we are managing our time is we take a look at the things that come at us through the day. Many things get thrown at us, or many things appear on our calendar, and we take a look at whether it is urgent and whether it is important. And we can actually make it a scale of 1 to 10. And everything that comes in, how urgent is it? And how important is it? And then based on that, it's going to fall into one of 4 quadrants. So we actually have 4 quadrants here. And let's talk about each one of these. The first quadrant we'll call urgent and important. So that means it is high urgency, and it is, actually let's go a different order. Let's start in the lower left corner. In the lower left corner, it is low in terms of urgency, and it is low in terms of priority. What things could fall into that category? That would be things like social media. It could be things like television. Now, of course, you need to have time to relax, but the things that are time wasters and don't accomplish anything. So time to relax is actually important. Me time, vacation time is important, but all those other things that really don't relax us or are wasting our time and accomplishing nothing. So we want to spend a minimal amount of time in that quadrant, the things that are low priority, low importance. They're time wasters. They have no value. So think of your day and what are the things that you are doing that are time wasting and have no value, and get rid of them. Don't even bother with it. Just get rid of them. The second quadrant would be urgent but not important. So that would be the lower right quadrant. That would be tasks that appear to have urgency, but the outcome has little impact. My wife has a thing up on the fridge, a little poster that says, "A lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part." A lot of times things get thrown at us that appear to be urgent, especially urgent to somebody else. They come in, oh, this has to be done right away, or this needs to be done, or you get something from the kids. Oh, you've got to drop everything and do this because it's urgent to somebody else, but it is in the big picture, in terms of what you need to do, not that important. It has little impact. So those are things that people throw at you that have no impact, or things that come at you but are not, they appear urgent, but they have little impact. And again, we want to minimize the amount of time we spend there. It will come up, sometime will be spent there, but we want to minimize that. I'm going to come back in the picture. The next part we want to look at is urgent, so that, or urgent but not important. So that would be the top right. So in the top right corner, issues that require immediate attention. So they are important and they require immediate attention. At work, we call those the fires that we fight. You've got a fire to fight. It has to be done right now. It is urgent. It is important. You have to drop everything and you have to do it. And if you work for a boss and you have a boss that says this needs to be done now, you're probably going to have to deal with that. At home, if somebody said, there's a pipe leaking, okay, my webcast here is important, but that leaking pipe that's spewing water all over the place, that is urgent and important. And I'm probably going to cut my webcast short and go deal with that leaky pipe. So there are things that come up that you must deal with right away. So those are the urgent, important matters. Those are the fires that need to be fought. It needs to be dealt with right away. The last quadrant is not urgent. So the top left quadrant, this one up here, the top left quadrant, that is not urgent but important. Not urgent but important are tasks that are important to you, tasks that have high value, but they are planned. So now you are managing these important tasks. You are spending time on these important tasks. Planning out my next webcast is an important task. If I start now, then it's not urgent yet because it's not due till next week, next Monday, but it is important to me. Getting ready for work tomorrow, planning out my week's activities, taking care of business now on a planned schedule so that it's not urgent, but things that are important to me. I want to do those, and I want to have them planned and scheduled in my calendar. So now those important tasks are being done on my time rather than fighting fires. And what you want to do is you want to try and move things from the urgent, important over to the not urgent. I'm looking backwards. The not urgent, but important. So that you're planning these activities rather than dealing with it last minute and fighting fires. And the more you can move over to the not urgent category, so you're planning these important activities, the less fires you will have to fight later on. The idea? So rather than having things thrown at us, we are now planning for these high importance, these priorities activities that are help us going to accomplish things, help us to be successful, but on a planned mode. We have scheduled time for them in our calendar. So I schedule time in my calendar for my business activities, dealing with my clients, growing my business, spending time with the Lord, prayer and Bible reading. Those are important to me, but I want to do it on my time. I want it to be a planned activity that is scheduled in my calendar. That is where you want to spend the majority of your time. You want to minimize the time you spend on the non-important activities, but you want to spend your time on the important activities, the top two quadrants, trying to move as much as you can into the high importance, low priority, because you have scheduled it, you have planned it. The more you can move over there, the better. Does that make sense? I'm going to go into more detail into this in my teaching, my training session on September 2nd. So I have a fair bit of information here, but I will actually be going into more detail on it. But time management is so important. Now, you talk about rest and relaxation. Let's suppose you do video games for relaxation, or social media, or television. Whatever you do, relax time, me time, that downtime is in fact, when you plan it in reasonable quantities, actually important. My relax time is important to me. And I do it with TV. I spend a bit of time on YouTube. I love to swim. That's my relax time. Even though it's physical exercise, that's my time to get away and just get into my own little world in the water and swim. But that is important to me. The key is, though, these relaxation activities, don't let them get out of hand. My time on social media, my time on YouTube, I have a set amount of time in a day, and if I exceed that amount of time, then I take note and I try and do better the next day. Note to self. I'm not going to spend as much time on it. So relax time, the me time, that is actually important. You want to schedule that time, but you don't want to get out of hand. You don't want to be a time waster. So that's how I handle that aspect of it. We're also going to go into in the teaching more detail on how to plan out your calendar. So looking at that teaching, September 2nd, there are 3 key areas that I'm going to cover. The key areas: why is time management important? I touched on that earlier in the webcast here. Why is time management important? Well, it's important because from a biblical perspective, and it's important in terms of being successful, managing our time. But we're going to go into more detail on why. The second part we're going to look at is time management on a macro scale, a large scale. Building a life plan. What are your priorities? Because once you've established what your priorities are, then you know where to align your time. If you're just wandering through life aimlessly, then you're going to waste your time aimlessly. But when you are able to set priorities, you then want to align your time management with those priorities. So building a life plan. So the macro side, building a long-term time management plan. And then the micro side, how to manage your time on a daily and a weekly basis. How to manage your calendar. How to manage those urgent, important situations that come up. How to say no to the unimportant tasks so that your day isn't filled with unimportant things. By the end of the day, you've accomplished nothing that's important. So that's what we're going to be looking at on September 2nd. Your thoughts on time management. Let's take a look at the comments that are here, see what people are saying. Hope you found this helpful. Good book. I guess you're referring to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yes, that is definitely a good book. Strongly recommend everybody read that. I love it. I read it once every couple of years. But in the time management section and at habit number 3, great material. Lines perfectly with what we're talking about here. I'm working on time management. It's a constant battle. Yes, I totally agree. But once you learn the principles of it and you have the self-discipline to apply those principles, you start to get better control of it. And I've studied it a lot. I'm getting better control. My life is busy, but I try to spend most of my time doing the important tasks. So the more you practice it, the better you will get. And no, I'm not perfect. Everybody can get better. So again, a pitch for my teaching. Even if you've got time management under control, join us. You might have some great ideas to share, and we can always get better. Even when I prepare for these courses, I learn a lot myself. There's one thing I noticed here, one thing I highlighted in my notes. Before anyone can put boundaries around time, you must first establish boundaries around yourself. Before time management becomes me management. So that is actually a quote from Derek Schneider, History Makers Academy. Before anyone can put boundaries around time, you must first establish boundaries on yourself. Before time management becomes me management. If you can't manage yourself, you're never going to manage your time. So we'll be teaching the principles of time management, but we're also going to look at you have to be able to manage yourself. Self-discipline is a huge aspect of that. And the times that I fail, it's because of self-discipline. That YouTube video, oh, I want to see that. And I get off down watching YouTube for, rather than, the 15, 20 minutes I allotted, I look at my clock and, I just spent 2 hours on YouTube. Or social media, I'm checking for my status updates, and I see something interesting, and I go down this trail, and down that trail, and down that trail. So I've allotted so much time for my social media and my entertainment, but it takes self-discipline now to stick to that. And the more you do it, the better you get. So great comment. It is a constant battle. You never get perfect at it, but you do get better as you practice it. Great comments. Thank you. I think with that, we'll start and wrap things up. I try to stay within 15 minutes to half an hour. It's been great chatting with you guys. Our website, monday-motivation.ca. You can go there. You can leave comments there. There's a feedback form. Sign up for our mailing list, and that way you get this in your mailbox. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, our new Facebook group, the Monday Motivation Inspire, Share, Connect. It's a closed group. Anybody who follows Monday Motivation is welcome to join. It's meant to be more interactive, where you can share ideas, ask questions. But make sure you share this video, like it, share it with your friends, because that will help us out. We put a lot of work planning into this. I try to deliver value. I don't want to waste your time. If I take half an hour of your time, I want to deliver value for that. And with the amount of preparation that goes into it, the more people can benefit from it. I want to grow this, and I would appreciate your help with that. Excuse me. I'm going to throw one more graphic up here. So the training that I'm doing on September 2nd, it's actually called a micro training. It's micro in terms of size, but it's not micro in terms of content. It's free, but there'll be lots of valuable content. I just scratched the surface here. I gave you some good stuff, but I just scratched the surface. So I'm actually working with History Makers Academy now as a trainer and as a coach, and we're doing these micro trainings. We also have the History Makers Experience. If you want information about that, contact me. I can talk to you about that. But the micro training, September 2nd, 7 p.m., It'll take place by Zoom. I'll post the Zoom link afterwards. But put it in your calendar. Make sure you show up. Good time management. And it'll be an hour, hour and a half of some excellent material talking about why time management is important, time management on a macro scale, time management on a micro scale. We'd love to have you join us. It'll be great material. It's a micro training. Like I said, I'm working with History Makers Academy, and that's part of it. But I also have experience with business. I have extensive experience with time management. So not only the training, but the experience to bring some great examples and life skills to you. So everybody can benefit from it. It's important. Make sure you join us September 2nd on time management, 7 p.m. I'll post a Zoom link. Share any comments you have in the comments section or the feedback form or our website. Go to our website, check it out, monday-motivation.ca. I don't see any of the comments here. Appreciate you guys. Glad you could join us, and we'll see you next week on Monday Motivation. Have a great week, and God bless. I did one mess up there, though. I started without video. Audio was good. First 3-4 minutes. Somebody commented.